What's up? Another week has come and gone. At least until I filmed this last. I film these on Wednesdays, release them on Friday, so it's kind of weird on what day it is for me versus what day it is for whoever's watching it, but that's irrelevant because you could watch it any day if you're watching it at all, which nobody seems to, so I don't even know why I'm saying this. Whatever, it's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Wednesday's comic book day. That's when the new comic books come out, so that's when I buy them. And then I save them for when I do my laundry and grocery shopping on Friday. Well, mainly for the laundry. Grocery shopping I'm not reading, but I am reading while I do my laundry. And then I read them over the weekend usually. So that's why it's called weekend reading. But I also have like weeks back saved. Like right up there. That's 2 weeks. That's a pile of 2 weeks of stuff. So I'm actually like 2 weeks back each time. So like that, those three on top, that'll be what I'm talking about next week, and those three on the bottom, that'll be what I'll talk about the week after that, and then so on and so forth, depending on what comes out. It's usually at least 3. Sometimes less, depending on, how much stuff comes out or how much I get. I don't know why I'm saying this. Anyways, let's get back to our... Why am I here? Jesus Christ, why am I doing this so badly? I've done this for weeks now. Last week, we had three books that I was reading over the weekend, and I read them. And I enjoyed them all, but only one could be my best, the one I liked the most. I had to pick for which one I thought I would like the most, and we'll see if that matched up. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Last week we had Dark Knight's Death Metal, The Darkest Night, which was a good book. It ties definitely into this whole Darkest Night thing. Well, we'll get to that. Death Metal, The Darkest Night. A Reckless Book, Friend of the Devil. And Wonder Woman Volume, Volume 4, The Four Horsewomen, which was a really large book and kind of came off like a series finale almost, even though I know that's not the case, but maybe they're rebooting Wonder Woman. I don't know. Wonder Woman, The Four Horsemen was my choice for last week for which one I thought I would like the best. And it wasn't. It was a good book. It was a long read, as you can see. This is pretty thick. But, it was not. My choice for which one... you probably can't... It was, my choice for which one I liked the best was this one. A Reckless Book, Friend of the Devil. I don't know why I didn't just go with this one from the get-go. I think it's because I lean more towards the more crazier books, the more out there superhero fare, but those, I shouldn't be surprised at how predictable those can be sometimes, but I like crazier books, but this I liked more. I should have went with this, though, because of who the guys creating it were, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. They are a fantastic team that have worked together they've been working together for years now to create these noirish crime books, and they just nail it. Brubaker's writing and Phillips' art is just on point, and it's just a really, really great read. You really can't go wrong with anything they read. This is a part of a new series of OGN's original graphic novels that are being related. They're basically collected format comic books that are not a collection of anything. They're just released in the collected format originally. This is like I said, it's part of a new series. It's about a guy named Ethan Reckless, hence why it's called A Reckless Book, and he's basically he's an ex-FBI agent who, in the 60s, it takes place in 1985, but I think it was like in the late 60s or early 70s, they covered this in the last Reckless book, but he was undercover this ex-hippie group that turned radical group that was like planning bombs and shit, or that was causing all these that was like interfering, like radical fucking protest groups that were around in the 60s and 70s. He infiltrated one, and he was spying on them for the feds because he was an undercover FBI agent. But then something went wrong and a bomb went off and he was almost killed and a bunch of people were killed, and it basically ended his tenure with the FBI because he kind of grew sympathetic to the people he was infiltrating. He sort of went native a little bit. Then after that, he had a falling out with his father, who was also an FBI agent, and he took up residence in San Diego, where he bought and owned a private movie theater that he basically just sat in and watched movies all day, while occasionally taking odd jobs as sort of a freelance private detective. I call it freelance because it just means he's not licensed or anything. And basically, he does things that he's not supposed to do, like he'll beat the shit out of people, he'll kill people, he'll steal stuff back for people, but he's kind of like an anti-hero who works for the right causes, so to speak. In this particular book, it's mostly about how he meets this woman who's she's a Vietnamese refugee of sorts who's been living in the United States since she was a kid. He meets her on a job where he's looking for some guy who faked his death to basically run out on his family and start a new life. But he gets her help, and he finds the guy, and then he for some reason he feels the urge to go back and talk to her and just tell her that he found the dude, and they start talking, and they sort of become romantic. Then one day while he's watching one of the movies he has on the theater, she comes in, and in the background, what does she see? She gets shocked because she sees her stepsister, who has been missing for I think she said 8 years. It turns out that she came to the United States because her father died in the Vietnam War, and her mother married an American colonel or something like that. Maybe it was a major, whose wife had died in a car accident, and he already had a daughter from his previous marriage. So when she came over, she now had this new family and a stepsister, but their stepsister was really nice. Her stepsister wanted to be an actress, so eventually one day she left to become an actress, and they kept in touch for a while, and then 8 years prior to the start of this story, she just kind of went missing, and the police told her that she was probably dead. So she asks Ethan if he'll check it out, and of course he does. And basically, he finds out through a series of events, he finds out that the girl got caught up in this weird sort of satanic sex cult thing, and she was literally part of a human sacrifice, and it somehow got involved. They got involved with people in the movie business, so they filmed the human sacrifice, but they also filmed parts of it for an actual shitty movie that got made, and there are people around who are still involved, and the guy who ran this weird satanic cult was now in the 80s working with skinheads, and it turns out eventually Ethan kills him and everything, and he finds evidence of what really happened, and he shows it to his girlfriend. But he also finds out that the guy who ran the group actually was a straight up Nazi. He was a lieutenant in the Nazi military, in the German military when the Nazi party reigned, and he snuck into the United States through South America and was hiding out here, and decided to use the skills he learned from Mangala and stuff to basically start his own cult. So yeah, my description of it is terrible, but it's actually a really good book. It's a really good read. Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, you can't go wrong, especially with this more down-to-earth, noir-y, pulp style crime shit. I'll probably, every time one of these comes out, I'll just go with this. I should have just done it beforehand. I figured with the Wonder Woman being so big, it would have more, and it had a lot. Don't get me wrong, it had a lot, but it was a decent read, but it was pretty by the numbers. This A Reckless Book, Friend of the Devil. That was my pick. That was the best read of this week. So, yeah. That was last week. What, pray tell, is this week? So glad you asked. Or didn't. Either way, you're going to find out. First up, another death metal book. Dark Knight's Death Metal. Multiverse Who Laughs. This is just like last week. This is another one of these books where it's a bunch of different writers and artists working on the same thing, because it's a collection from a bunch of different books, a bunch of different like one-shots and stuff, all part of this Dark Knight's Death Metal miniseries that's going on. There's still going to be more of these. There's another one for next week, and eventually we'll get to the actual Death Metal miniseries, which should be good. Let's see what this one's about, though, because the last one was about the evil Batman that the Batman Who Laughs has collected. So let's see what this one's about. A multiverse chock full of your worst nightmares. Yeah, that's what it's about. The dark multiverse is all about. It's also basically the waste receptacle for the universes that are created from the nightmares of the main multiverse. The DC Universe is a collection of alternate reality worlds where anything is possible, like I said. Each world tells the tale of a possible split in reality or shows how lives vary depending on a single, solitary decision. But now the multiverse has been destroyed. Yeah, they got into that. That's the weird thing about these, is they're kind of like telling events from the main story that hasn't come out yet, so I'm getting it piecemeal through this, and then hopefully it'll make sense when the main story comes out. But now the multiverse has been destroyed. The Batman Who Laughs has used his godlike power to create a new dark multiverse. Yeah, somehow the Batman Who Laughs has he found a world where Batman became Dr. Manhattan, and he stole DNA from him and became his own version of Dr. Man, and then put his brain in this new Dr. Manhattan Batman body. It's really weird. The Batman Who Laughs has used his godlike powers to create a new dark multiverse, a collection of 52 evil worlds. They love that 52. Each more terrifying than the last. These one-shots offer the curious and the brave a glimpse into the nightmare realities that the Batman Who Laughs has created, in tales by creators who know what it means to have truly twisted sense of misfit humor. An Arkham Asylum even more terrifying than what we know? A world of evil super pets? Find all that out and more in these new tales of the Multiverse Who Laughs. So it's going to be kind of almost funny, crazy stories. Yeah, featuring stories from a host of top creators, including Scott Snyder, Jeff Johns, James Tynion IV, Peter J. Tomasi, Patton Oswalt. That's where you get some of your humor. Riley Rosma, Francis Manipal, and Sanford Green. Dark Knight's Death Metal, the Multiverse Who Laughs, contains some of the most terrifying nightmares the DC Universe has ever seen. Collects Dark Knight's Death Metal, Robin King 1. Dark Knight's Death Metal, Rise of the New God 1. Dark Knight's Death Metal, Infinite Hour Extreme with 3 X's 1. Dark Knight's Death Metal, The Multiverse Who Laughs, number 1. And Dark Knight's Death Metal, Secret Origin, number 1. Also included is a collection of behind-the-scenes material from these tie-ins to the popular Dark Knight's Death Metal series. So yeah, like last week, this should be interesting. Gives a bit more detail to the Dark Knight's Death Metal main miniseries when that eventually comes out. So it should be a good read. What's next? Next up is Miss Marvel, Volume 3, Outlawed. Now, this is also tied into a miniseries. It's tied into that Outlawed miniseries that's been running through Marvel, where the government decides to outlaw teenage superheroes and arrest anyone who doesn't follow the rule. It's very similar into the vein of Civil War, or where the government reacts to something and does a major overreach. It's kind of something that Marvel's been playing on for years, basically since the first Civil War, and it just feels a little played out, but, it feels like they didn't know what to do with their young heroes anymore, and the whole thing just, like I said, feels played out. But let's see. There's a new hero in Jersey City. Introducing Fadi Fadalala, aka Amulet. I hope I said that last name right. What secrets is this gentle giant hiding? Is he friend or foe? And is this town big enough for both him and Miss Marvel? Then, while recovering from a traumatic ordeal, Kamala finds herself an unwilling martyr for a movement she hates, and Miss Marvel ends up outlawed. But if she wants to reclaim her narrative, she'll have to wake up first. The Anti-Teen Hero Task Force, Cradle. I wonder if that acronym actually means anything, or if they just used it because it sounds something childish, is scouring Jersey City to apprehend its young protector. And that isn't the only problem on Kamala's plate. Several of her family members support the new law, and they've discovered her secret identity. It's game over for Miss Marvel. Everything will come to a head at the homecoming dance. Okay, and that collects Miss Marvel 13 through 18 by Saladin Ahmed and Minkyu Jung? I'm probably saying that name terribly wrong. Sorry about that. So yeah, Minkyu Young and Joey Vasquez on pencils. So yeah, it looks like this is playing right into that whole outlawed storyline. So we'll see how that all plays out. Should be interesting. You know, Saladin Ahmed's a good writer, and Miss Marvel's been a pretty good read. Definitely the closest thing they've had to, like, that Spider-Man feel with a new character in a long time. That's still not my number one. My number one will actually also probably be a funny book. And that is King Deadpool Volume 2 by Kelly Thompson and Gerardo Sandoval. This has been an interesting book. Deadpool is always a fun read. He's definitely become very popular in recent years. And so, in the new place they put him in, where he's the king of the monsters and operating out of, I think it's, where the hell is he? Staten Island. He's operating out of Staten Island now. So, let's see what the description is. Staten Island, where monsters dwell. It's a love story. Deadpool, just say yes. No, I read that wrong. It's a love story, Deadpool. Just say yes. Elsa Bloodstone is dying, and the only one who can save her is Wade Wilson, King of the Monsters? And the only one who can save her is Wade Wilson, King of the Monsters? That's how I should have said that. I really got to read ahead more. What has gone wrong with Elsa's mystical, magical Bloodstone gem? What can Deadpool possibly do about it? And what is the actual truth of the Bloodstone curse? Scandal, betrayal, and a dimension full of hideous goo all await. It's gonna get messy. Then the king of the monsters takes on the king of the dragons. An evil ancient cult wants to kill Deadpool. An evil ancient space god wants to kill Deadpool. Why does everyone want to kill Deadpool? So I'm guessing it's going to have the guy from the Venom crossover. What the fuck is his name? I forget his name. Curse or something like that. I forget his name. The symbiote god. Looks like he might have something to do with this. I think. I'm not sure. But yeah. King Deadpool Volume 2. Which doesn't have any subtitle out, oddly enough. That'll probably be my pick for what is good this week, because it's mostly a whatever week. Nothing really stands out. So yeah, that should be it. Hey, my pick, what I actually picked this week was not what I picked, what I actually ended up being the best this week was not my pick from last week. So, or what ended up being the best from last week was not actually what I picked. So, that could change. It depends on when we read it, but I won't be reading it till Friday, so you won't know until next Wednesday, which you won't see till next Friday or whenever you watch this, if anybody actually watches this. I'm basically just doing these for me now, but I'm just trying to keep myself busy and entertained as best I fucking can. It's hard, but I'm trying. So yeah, I gotta think of more things to do with relationship to comic book stuff. I've been thinking about stuff, but I don't know. I'm almost done with my Marvel movie watch. I should be done should be done by this Friday. I'm gonna watch one tonight. I think I'm gonna skip on Thursday, and then watch the last two, Infinity War and Endgame, on Friday night. So that'll be a long night. I mean, that's about 5 to 6 hours worth of shit to watch right there. But that's fine. It's Friday. Friday's for chilling out and relaxing. But yeah. Anyways, that's that. That's what I got for this week. I hope you have a good weekend. I'm gonna try to. And if you read anything, I hope you enjoy your reading. Have a good one.